going to be reacting to a write-up that was credited to Senator Shehu Sanni. I think here it is. He titled it "The Essence of Alumni Association." All right. I'm not going to read it, of course, but I just want to highlight some sections of it. All right. So one of the things he said at the beginning was that people have become so material and achievement focused in the association, and wherein the ones who feel they've made it in life, I think, are materially, by way of achievements and whatever, come to simply lord it over those who have not. So you just find that if you're in an alumni association, by whatever channel you may have gotten it, you just find that some people will just continue to hog the attention. The people who are, for instance, the quote-unquote leaders of the association, maybe they're the executives, will then allow the ones who believe they've made it by material, in terms of material acquisition or attainment, they will then begin to bombard you with messages of photos, videos and all that, and announcements of whatever heights they say they've achieved. And then the ones who have seemingly not achieved anything materially will just be on the receiving end of it and will literally just be intimidated into silence. Now, it goes without saying, I'm sure all of us know that this is true. It varies in the degree to which it's allowed to happen in different associations. I have been very impressed with the University of Ibadan Alumni Association Group, to which I belong, Lagos State Chapter. I would imagine that is probably what happens in most of the other branches of UR Alumni Association. But there are other associations I belong to, well, that by default anyway, that I just simply pulled myself out of. And this thing Shehu Sanni talked about was exactly the reason why I did so. When we forget to be human, then we forget that we are also capable of experiencing peaks and troughs in our lives, where things will go wrong and things will go right. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's a reflection on us, on our true character, when we begin to think that material attainment is the basis for which you should decide how to treat people. I'm not going to give a lecture. I think it's common sense. People know it is true, but people still do it all the same. It's not just in the alumni associations, even in society. You don't have money, that is what they think. So they begin to look down on you. We have many instances, even in families, where the person that has more money gets a better audience than the person that seemingly doesn't have more money, or money like the others. So I just want to throw a challenge to everybody, and of course people can decide whether or not they want to listen to it or accept the challenge. But I want to throw a challenge at people to go back to knowing how to be human. There was something Shehu Sanni said here, and I'm going to read it, and I think it just perfectly captures what people need to remember at all times. Okay, let me see where I can find it now. All right, it's one of the paragraphs. It just says, yes, fingers are not equal, and life has not been good to some, but let not those attainments kill that comradely spirit we shared in our classrooms and hostels as young people, unaware of what life has for us in the future we now live. For me, that statement, harmless as it sounds, is actually a direct hit, okay, at the core of the reason why people are having problems functioning in the alumni association when they are not doing well materially. The fact that the so-called schooling system, you see, it was a school. You were there. I mean, alumni association is alumni association of people that went to a particular institution of learning, and so we were supposed to believe when we were going there that the school we were attending was preparing us for life. You were assured by your parents that if you did well and got the good grades, everything else would just progress normally. So for him to be saying here, well, as young people in classrooms and hostels, unaware of what life had in store for us in the future we now live. Come on. The school system is supposed to provide for you and prepare you to be ready for what life has in store for you, whatever it might be. It's like saying that somebody went into the military and was then taken through training, preparatory to going into war, and then he finished the training and then entered into the battlefield and discovered that everything he was taught was useless and he could not function as a soldier on the battlefront. That's rubbish. It's like saying that somebody goes to a driving school and goes for, I don't know, is it 3 weeks, 4 weeks of training or whatever, and then finishes it, gets into a car and is driving on the streets and doesn't know how to drive in accordance with the traffic rules and regulations. There's a problem with that. That means the school didn't do its job. So the kids have no way, the young people going into the school system have no way of knowing what is the required kind of learning they should acquire. They have no way of knowing. We who are in the world, preparing the kids for the world by sending them to school, are the ones that are supposed to look at what the school is supposed to teach them in order to make them prepared to hit the ground running in the real world of their lives as adults. Unfortunately, what the society did to us when we were young, when we were children, is exactly what we are doing to our kids. So I'm just saying it's a challenge to everybody. We need to wake up and realize that whatever the fortunes of 99% of all of right now today, it's not a function of what our individual capabilities were by way of potential. Secondly, whoever it might be that is struggling now, if you want to claim to be a human being, you must let that aspect of your personality, of your nature that has to do with empathy, lead you, and not the one that is the base instinct where you want to prove and show off that you have something that you think somebody else doesn't have. It makes no difference to anybody, because like we always say, we say it but we don't believe it, we don't act it. We always say that we didn't bring anything to this world and we're not going to leave this world anything. Therefore, what's the big deal? Why make an issue out of the fact that you have something that others don't have? If anything, you should do what the others will not do, which is find a way to help others get what you have to, so that they can live better lives, make a difference in people's lives, touch lives and impact lives. That is when you really show that you are educated. That is proof you can show that you are educated. So when you get schooling and then you go around trying to show that you are better than other people, that is a sign that you're not educated. And I have experienced it in a very, for me, I got my real education after school. The fact that I got employed very early in a good job. I started with a small job, small manufacturing company, and I got to one of the biggest companies, I would say, in the world. And I worked there and I did very well. Then I chose to become an entrepreneur. I am grateful till today for that spirit that drove me to become an entrepreneur. I was just driven, and till today I remain driven. I'm not tired. I'm so excited. I remain fulfilled every single day. I'm going at what I pursuing my dream. I just feel so happy. It has nothing to do with material acquisition. Instead, I'm driven to make an impact in every area of endeavor I venture. And I'm telling you, every single time I've done it, I have seen that as I move around and I encounter people that I went to school with at different levels. I went to school in so many places. One thing I've seen consistently is this: most people, if they look at you and they're trying to size you up the minute they meet you, I feel so sad for them. The minute you make your life about checking if you are better than somebody, you must understand that just as you are looking at that person and trying to decide you are better than the person, there's also somebody else who is capable of looking at you and thinking he's better than you. And the point is, neither of you is going to win. In quote, you are not making the world a better place through that kind of mindset. I'm better than him, so bloody what? There have been people who were better than other people who have died. How has that helped the planet? It makes no sense. So you've got to be somebody at the lowest level of psychological existence for you to think like that when you're looking at human beings. If there is a man who has proven that, it's Muhammad Ali. And that's how I'm going to end this. Muhammad Ali, many people do not know, did not even look. The man was cheating his way through secondary school. Okay, when he was in school, because he never went to college, we all know that. But Muhammad Ali, even in secondary school he went through, he couldn't read properly by the time he finished, because according to reports, and you can Google this, it's a fact, he was always cheating his way through school. He was paying for people to help him, cheating. Now, why was that? Because he had his passion, he had identified it. The rest of it was just for him, just to mark register and get through the process. His wife, I believe it was his first wife, was the one that had to teach him how to read properly. Yet, can anybody deny the fact that Muhammad Ali was an epitome of confidence, self-confidence, to the extent that he knew that all he had to do was good at what he had chosen to do for a living, which was boxing, and then later on human rights activism. And he did that thing better than most people that had PhD degrees. Today, we remember Muhammad Ali in so many ways. The man is a legend that will never die. Many of those people going around with their so-called PhDs and will let us rest with all their money, we don't even remember when they died. Not like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali touched lives. He met with presidents across the world. He met with dignitaries, successful people. He himself was a celebrity. Yet, Muhammad Ali did not have a university degree. Muhammad Ali's life should be a lesson to all of us, because he was a humanitarian par excellence. Muhammad Ali was a guy who, no matter how rich he became, no matter how successful he became, continued to preach that the only way to show that you're successful is to make sure you have time for those who do not have, and look for a way to make their lives better. He remained human to the very end. Yet many of us refuse to follow his example. We want to raise our shoulders and say we are better than other people. I see them every day, I meet with them, and it instructs me on how to deal with them. That is why I do not reach out most of the time to people I went to school with. Many of them only pretend to be humble, but deep within them, they nurse a misplaced and misguided superiority complex. Something that does not make any sense to have. How do you make a difference in the world? It's by showing that you're a human being, by acting it. And many people are just disappointing themselves, not me, disappointing themselves. For me, every single day I walk out onto the streets, I think about how I can make a difference for one person at least. And when I do my work, I relate with every person, without giving anyone any opportunity to just for a 1 second, not even 1 second, imagine that I feel that he's inferior to me or she's inferior to me. I treat everybody the same. I don't care who you are. That is why I'm able to work with a diplomat who is a deputy ambassador, work with somebody who is a CEO, work with somebody who is just a student. I can relate with anybody. I relate with my children. It has nothing to do with what somebody has and what somebody does not have. I can sit in somebody's shop, even though the shop is looking like a rural shop. I can sit in a beautiful restaurant that's looking like a posh restaurant. I don't care. What matters to me is that I'm relating with a human being. And that is the way we must let ourselves be. It should not matter if the person is a floor cleaner or the person is a rich person. It shouldn't matter. Unfortunately, it does matter to many of us. And that is shameful. But of course, I know even what I'm saying now will not make a difference. They'll be saying it's because he doesn't have, Jare. It's stupid. You have. There's always somebody who has more than you. But really, what you have, what are you doing with it? Because there's only one thing you can do with it. Show it off and prove that you're just a ridiculous idiot, or use it to make a difference in the lives of others who do not have. Period. Other than that, you're just there, adding no value to the world. Why would you want to live that kind of life? What kind of legacy is that you want to leave behind? But unfortunately, many people who belong to all these alumni associations, that is what they do. That's why I keep my distance. I don't want to relate with anybody who thinks he can assess me by virtue of what his own standards are. My standards are not your standards. There are people who choose to be what do you call those people? Monks all through their lives, not to acquire wealth. So how do you judge that person? He has the capacity. If he were to go with the skills and talents he possesses, he could probably become a millionaire. But he chooses, look, I'm going to live a life of abstinence. How do you want to judge the person? That makes him a lesser human being than you. It makes no sense. But people are living this life and behaving in this manner, and their kids are learning from them how to be like that. That's why we have a society in which there's so much inhumane treatment of one another. It's sad. Then we claim we have education, we claim we have schooling, we have degrees and all that, but our actions show that we are actually far from being qualified to be called decent human beings. And that's a shame. It's a shame. And those who live like that should bury their heads in shame. But again, like I said, they don't really care. And they have their groups that they move with, so they all function. They're just like a pack of wolves. But I do this because there may be one or two who may be willing to listen. And in the process, they may decide to change the way they're living their lives and make it. You see, you are even making God ashamed of you as his creation when you live like that. Because even the Jesus and the Muhammed and all of those, peace be unto his name, they, at the end of the day, what they did was to make a difference in the lives of ordinary people. That's what they did. They actually paid attention to ordinary people and made effort to do something for them, to treat them like human beings. And then you are doing the exact opposite and you say you believe in them. It's so sad. But hey, it's a choice. We all make our choices, but we will also live by the consequences of the choices we make. So I'm going to end by reading out some of the quotes credited to Ali. Like I said earlier, I believe we can learn from the life of Muhammad Ali. As I noted, he had actually been reported to have cheated his way through school. It was a lesser known fact about him. It wasn't something that was highlighted. And he was such a larger than life figure. But his wife taught him to read. But he was phenomenally successful in life as a boxer and activist. And without looking down on anybody at all, even though he was a massive celebrity, he treated everyone the same. And the following quotes that I'm going to read out, credited to him, perfectly explain his mindset. Right, the first one: service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. I think that one is clear. If you're out here, make a difference in people's lives, make an impact. When it comes to love, compassion, and other feelings of the heart, I am rich. That's a statement of fact. You could see him. Even if Ali never had any cash, people would have given him money. Third one: I've made my share of mistakes along the way, but I have changed. Even if I have changed even one life for the better, I haven't lived in vain. This man, he was wise beyond his years. Even when he was young, he was always coming up with all these quotes. He was such a poet, and he was so very good at coming up with and he would just create things from nowhere. So for me, I think Ali embodied what it means to actually be spiritual, because it was his spirituality that enabled him to come up with these kinds of insights. And as he grew older, you could see that he became wiser at the same time. Another quote is, even the greatest was once a beginner. Don't be afraid to take that first step. Now, if you think about that one, and you think about what I said about the old student association, you realize that for each person, we're on a different journeys. All right, it may be your time now. The other person's time may not come until later. So you passing judgment or looking down on them doesn't make any sense. Another quote: no one starts out on top. You have to work your way up. Again, the same thing, the same theme, the same message. The sixth one: the greatest victory in life is to rise above the material things that we once valued the most. This is the one that has to do with all these guys who think, I don't know how big you think you can get. If you think you are big, then think of Elon Musk. He's not arrogant, he's not proud. And so what informs your own behavior? So people need to get it right. Your values must not be wrong, must not be misplaced. If you put emphasis on the wrong things, you are going to live a shallow life. All right, another one, number 7: inside of a ring or out, ain't nothing wrong with going down. It's staying down that's wrong. Again, this is a message to any member. You don't even have to be a member of any old students association. The point is, things are not going well for you now. So why let that bog you down? Why let that determine how you feel about yourself? And then don't stay down. Get up and try again. Another quote: when we devote all of our actions to a spiritual goal, everything that we do becomes a prayer. That's true. Every thought you have will become a prayer, because you are spiritually in tune with the Creator. Another one: I've made my share of mistakes along the way, but if I have changed even one life for the better, I haven't lived in vain. I think I've repeated this twice. I'm not sure how I ended up making that mistake, but it's worth repeating anyway, because that's how you measure yourself, not by how much you've accumulated, but actually how much you've impacted people. And sometimes you don't need material wealth to impact people. Sometimes it's what you do for them, what you say to them, how you treat them. Another quote: friendship is not something you learn in school, but if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. Some people don't know the value of friendship. They don't know the meaning of friendship. They don't know how to be friends with anybody. They're always measuring you and counting, keeping stock, taking stock. It's not a healthy way to live life, but some people just feel that that's the way. In fact, they will actually probably fall sick if they were not able to judge people based on those kinds of things. So for them, they cannot be real friends. They don't have the capability to be real friends. Another quote: to be able to give away riches is mandatory if you wish to possess them. This is the only way that you'll be truly rich. Many people do not understand. There's a saying that if you want to know if something is truly yours, let it go. If you catch a bird, if you want to know if really the bird is yours and wants to stay with you, let it go. If it comes back to you, then it's yours. The same thing with your children. Behave the same way. Let them free. They'll come back to you if they love you. Friendship, another quote now: friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought, not sold. But Its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. Friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought nor sold, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. I think that one is self-explanatory, so I won't bother spending time on that. I'll go to the next one. I try not to speak about all the charities and people I help, because I believe we can only be truly generous when we expect nothing in return. I've said to people all the time, even in marketing, it's the same thing. You don't expect anything in return, because you have a passion for what you do. If you've chosen the right vocation, then you will not have a problem doing your marketing, because you love it anytime you're involved in it, regardless of whether it's giving you the returns you want immediately or not. So when you're doing things for people and you make a show of taking pictures and doing videos, something is wrong with you. But I think it's become a fashionable thing now to do that. And unfortunately, Muhammad Ali showed us that. Muhammad Ali has shown us the right way to do that, and we're refusing to follow his example. I'm trying to challenge people to wake up and go and do the right thing. Another quote: I don't trust anyone who's nice to me but rude to the waiter, because they will treat me the same way if I were in that position. This one, many people miss it. Whenever you are doing well, whenever you are shining, whenever you are looking good, people want to associate with you. Everybody is a relative of success. The minute things are bad, you know who's your friend and who is not. And this is, you need to watch the way they treat other people who are not so well off compared to you, and you know how they will treat you when you are down. Another quote: I wish people would love everybody else. This is the final one. The way they love me. I wish people would love everybody else the way they love me. It will be a better world. And this is the truth. Muhammad Ali just enjoyed that kind of benefit. People loved him regardless. And we can all learn from that. We should try and love everybody the way we love Muhammad Ali. I hope you found this useful. I wish you well.